Tom, you've been in charge for nearly 3 months now. How have you found it?
It's been challenging, but thoroughly enjoying the process. Obviously, which wish the performance on the pitch was better, but we're going to get there. But thoroughly enjoying the 3 months and quite a few challenges in front of us. But the family, we're looking forward to taking them on.
You made changes around the stadium already. Are you happy with the progress that you've already made?
Yes, we're accustomed to moving at a very quick speed. So from that perspective, I wish things could move a little bit quicker, but I do understand some of the planning and the approval processes that need to go. We've made some quick changes around the stadium. We've made some impacts down in the boardroom and the 1904 room. The next big task is going to be hitting the east side of the stadium, and I think the fans have been able to see the plans that we've laid out, give us some feedback, and that's going through the planning process. So we're pleased with where we're headed. We have a bigger picture of the overall end game, and we're just slowly taking the steps to get there. But we're pleased with the process right now.
Just on the east end, do you have a planned time for the work to start over there?
Our goal is to have it done by summer. As the players are in between the seasons, we would like to get the majority of the work done there. That's all going to depend on the planning process. We have that submitted, and we hope to get the approval necessary. We think it's going to make a tremendous game day, match day impact, and by being able to move a lot of the hospitality to these stands, it's going to open up the west stands for the players and the coaches, so we can make some changes over here as well. We're already making some minor changes on the west side for the players, but we'd like to do more for them.
And lots of plans for changing room and things like that over here once that's done.
Yes, it's funny. I was speaking with some of the players, and I said, well, if you're in charge, what's the one thing you would want? And they said, changing room. And we said, we have that. And Patty and I were down at Old Trafford, and we took a picture of their changing room, and I was able to show that to the players and say, this is what we're targeting. Now I know that's a high, lofty goal, but that's kind of the approach we want to take. Much like we did the boardroom in the 1904 room, that's the quality we want throughout the entire stadium. So right now, while we're in season, we are making changes to the home dressing room and showers, and we believe that investment will be able to be used as we renovate the west side as well. So we're not throwing good money after bad money or having to tear it down, but it's making an impact for the players. We also, as we changed the boardroom and the 1904 room, where we have the meals on match day, we said, it's funny because we sat there and said, these two rooms are used for pretty much 4 hours a day on a match day. That's it. And what a waste of a beautiful space. So now we have that where the players, they have their meals in the 1904 room, state-of-the-art, modern technology up on the walls, able to really relax and enjoy themselves, and they get to use the boardroom as well. So we're trying to multi-use the space so it benefits the players as well.
The transfer window obviously shut last week. Were you happy with the work that we did in that?
Was I happy? I would say yes, I was happy. It was more difficult than I guess initially expected. It's a very short window, very short time frame to get things done. There wasn't a lot of player availability, but we pressed hard. The budget was available to make the changes that we need to make. I think we made some very, very strong signings. I think we added 5 long-term starters to the squad. That's almost half the squad has changed. And so as we went through the process, we asked ourselves the question, as we're working with Paul and Greg and Jacob, we said, as we look at adding somebody to the squad, do they help us survive League One? That's the primary goal. And we still have that as the goal. And so the answer to every one of those signings was yes. And then for any reason, if we didn't survive League One, were these the signings that we need to strengthen the backbone of the team for League Two and a bounce back up to League One? Our primary goal is to still try to survive League One, but we are realistic. We understand the situation we understand where we're on the league table. And while that's difficult and it's painful, and I sympathize with the fans, it's not where we want to be, I do think we strengthen the squad significantly, and we're here for the long term, and that's our plan. It's not some quick turnaround. Would love to make that happen, but I'm not sure if that's really realistic.
Do you feel like we're better prepared for the next transfer window in whatever league with that experience?
Yes, definitely there. I will say, some of the fans might not be aware of the fact that we have invested in new technology. We have interactive TV for Paul and the coaching staff to sit down and go through the game performance with the players. We've invested in StatsBomb that I think we've made public. We just recently invested in Transfer Room, another software product that helps us with the securing new players and trading players. So we have the new technology, so we're kind of modernizing and bringing it into the 21st century, which is necessary. But just because you get the new technology, you have to be able to use it. And so we're going through I would say process improvement programs where we're going through and saying, okay, let's look at recruiting and let's look at the new technology and let's put a process that uses this new technology. Let's not just react and say, oh, we need a midfielder, let's jump in and see what's there. It's an ongoing process, and that starts now, and we're going to work through that in each position so that when we hit the summer window, we're ready. We know who the targets are. We've done all of our vetting process ahead of time. It's not something that just happens once and stops. It happens every week. It has to be an iterative process. There has to be discipline, structure about it to make sure that we're prepared so when we hit the summer window, we're really quick on the movement there.
We've got the new analyst is in now as well, and we've got a new physio starting soon, I think.
Yes, I think we've added three new full-times to the football staff. Having the first team analyst is fantastic. That helps us, in terms of the preparation for match day against the opponent, but it also frees up Jacob Blaine to really help Greg and Paul and focus on the recruiting. And that's where I said we want to sit down with them and kind of walk through that process so we all understand what the goals and objectives are and make sure we're doing it in a very detailed, process-oriented manner, week in, week out, so we're ready for the summer window.
Paul said on Saturday he wasn't a great manager last year when we got promoted, and he's not a bad manager now, and just everybody needs to sort of keep calm and get through it.
I heard that. I'm not sure I completely agree with that. I think Paul is a great manager. I think what he did last year was fantastic. We know the situation we're in, and we stepped up very quickly, with promotion late via the playoff. With a very limited budget, there was only so much we could do, and to go from League 2 to League 1, it is a significant change in competition, and we see that. So I think Paul's doing a very, very good job with where we're at right now. I think everybody does need to have patience, but again, the only thing I would disagree with is I think he did a great job last year. I think he's a great manager, and he has full faith and confidence from me.
And although we have to be realistic, there are still 16 games to go. That's a third of the season.
Oh, I totally agree. We start with Portsmouth this weekend, and you just need one or two wins to turn this around. I mean, we're only 10 points out of the relegation area. That's 3 wins, and we're right back in it. And sometimes just getting that first win brings the confidence, because we have been competitive in almost every match that we've been in. And I just think we need to get a little bit more confidence and quality on the pitch. And when the players see that and feel that, the momentum takes over. So I'm certainly a believer that surviving League One is still the goal for this year, and it is achievable. It's realistic and achievable. It's difficult, but it's realistic and achievable. But that is the goal, and we should all still be pushing for that. We still have a third of the season left to go.
You've spent already a couple of weeks here at the minute, and you've still got a week to go. Has it been good to sort of really get into how the day-to-day running of the club is?
Yes, I probably a lot of people don't know, Patty and I have spent a lot of time having one-on-ones with everybody on the staff, and we're still doing that this afternoon, and we'll continue the rest of this week. So it's been this trip we've been over here, but it's probably been the most we've been involved on the one-on-ones with the entire staff, listening to what needs to improve, what's going well, where can we help, what processes do we need to put in place. That's been very informative to us. We're learning a great deal, and that's whenever we start a business or are involved in a business, we want to make sure we fully understand it, because you can't make changes to make it better until you really fully understand all the processes. We have a great staff. We have from top to bottom, but there's always room for improvement, and so that's what we're looking for and putting that structure in place. Great team, thrilled with Nigel, thrilled with Suzanne, Paul, and the entire coaching staff and all the administrative staff. It's just trying to figure out what resources are we lacking that we now need to bring in. We 3 years ago, I would say we were probably putting 3,000, 3,500 in the stadium, and recently we've been putting 11,000 in. 8,500 for the last match here. That's a significant amount of or increase, and you need resources to do that. So we want to continue to do that. We want to continue to build what Carlisle has here, what we can do, and we need the support of the fans. We're going to make this a strong, what I would like to say, for the foreseeable future, not just for a couple games, not just for one season, but we want to build the backbone of the infrastructure so Carlisle is at the top all the time.
That time over here has given you a chance to meet the likes of the council, the uni, the mayor.
Yes.
Good to build those relationships.
It certainly is. We've spent a lot of time with City Council, and they've been fantastic and very supportive. This week we spent time with the University of Cumbria, and we're putting together a program where we can work together. We're excited about that. We think there's a lot that we can do with the University of Cumbria, and we can also help them out as well. We had the opportunity to meet the mayor, which was just absolutely fantastic, and kind of learn about the history and the culture. That was a great meeting. So we're getting more ingrained and spending more time. We're spending, just walking the streets and out for lunch or dinner, just getting to talk to people. It's just an absolutely fabulous community. We thoroughly enjoy it, and we just look forward to continuing to build and strengthen those relationships and partnerships.
I'm guessing in the meeting with the council, the training ground might have been mentioned. How's the progress on that?
The progress is moving very fast. It's funny, as we're talking with the one-on-ones with all the staff here and the city council. One thing that we said is when we looked at acquiring the Carlisle United, and we went through the analysis, and we kind of presented that to the to really everybody, but the supporters group in detail. The academy was not really brought up, and it's funny now that we're here. Yes, the performance on the pitch is critical, but for the long-term success of the club, we have to have the proper training facilities, and we have to strengthen the academy. We have a great academy right now, but they're traveling all over the place to try to get the training in and get the structure in and get the strength training in. And so as we look at it, we've informed them. We said, we've had a paradigm shift. We're sitting here going, we know the performance on the pitch for the first squad is absolute paramount, but long-term success requires the proper training facilities, and then the academy has to be developing the players. So we have had conversations. We've visited probably over 5 sites. There's pros and cons with every site. I mean, Carlisle is very unique. I mean, it's very there's limited spaces to do this, but with what the vision, what we have, and the size of space we need, we're pretty clear on that, and so we know, we want it to be as close to city center as possible. We think that's important for the city of Carlisle, and it's important for the club. We want it to be expansive enough to do what we need for the first team and the academy, and have the proper facilities. So we have that in mind. Every site that we've looked at has pros and cons, and that's like any business decision. There's pros and cons, and you just have to weigh them appropriately. And then on the cons, how do you mitigate them? How do you, if this site has 3 negatives, how do we mitigate those negatives? So we're going through that process. We're working with City Council. No decision has been made yet, but it's definitely an interactive process. We're all working together for a common goal, and I think everybody is very, very supportive for that.
Do we have a preferred site or an idea of timescales on any of that?
Do we have a preferred site? I have a preferred site. Do we have one? We're going through the process of evaluating all of them. We're big fans of when you're making a decision of this magnitude, and this is a big decision. To give some concept of what we're thinking about, if anybody's seen the Fleetwood training facility, I would say take a look at that. That's kind of what we have in mind. We went down there and spent 2 hours before the Fleetwood match meeting with their personnel and going through that entire training facility. So that shared use space is what we're looking at. Some exclusive space for Carlisle United, but then also shared community with that. We think that's the best because you're not always utilizing all the resources at the same time. We do see an indoor facility. We do see, an indoor dome because of the weather and making sure that we can have a space for the first team and the academy and others to train on. So that Fleetwood model of shared club and community is what we're looking for. That if you look at that vision, that if you could take that and kind of move that up here with some changes, that's what we're looking for. We certainly have identified some spaces. I have my preferences, but I like to hear and get the input from everybody because I may have missed some things, and collectively as a management team here, we need to make the best decision for the club, and that's what we're all shooting for.
Just another thing, we often do a promo game, cheaper tickets and things like that. Is there any plans for that?
Yes, definitely. There's plans for that. I'm not sure what the date is, but we've talked about that and said I think that's something that we've done annually, and I think that's something we should continue to do. We want to make sure that the club gets the support, and by bringing in via promotional items or promotional discounts and things of that nature, we think that's important, and that's certainly going to happen. I'm just not sure what date this year. The management team will take care of that.
And just last one, not like there's not enough going on, but is there anything else you want to update fans on?
Well, I will say some other changes that people aren't aware of is we did do a complete renovation of the 2 residences we own on Warwick. We have a lot of players staying there. We walked through that, and probably in less than 2 weeks, we completely renovated those 2 facilities. I would say a big shout out to Jackie and Paul Simpson. They were very, very helpful on that. I think the changes in those residences have been dramatic. Patty and I walked through and spoke with the players while they were there, and they were very thankful. But it's just, I think it's the right thing to do. It's I look at it, and Patty does too, is, if our child was here, would we want them being there? And, the facilities were okay, but we don't want okay. We want the best. We want it to be the best. And so it was a real significant remodel, and I think the players are very thankful of that. We're also looking at acquiring some additional residences, for additional players as we bring them in. A lot of them, are going to be traveling to get here initially, and they need a place to stay. So we're looking for some additional residences, and we've eyeballed a couple spots, and we're moving on that. So there's a lot of items in the background that are going on that folks aren't aware of, but the announcements will be coming out shortly. Performance on the pitch is the most critical. We all understand that. I understand that. We sympathize with the fans, and we're doing everything we can to make that better, to get that better. But long term, we have to have these other things in place too, to build for the future.